Hi, it's me, Jason. I'm back again this week, and this week's video, as you can see, is going to be my second Q&A. So let's get started. V-Law asks, what is the deal with men not being that interested in chick flicks? V, uh, I honestly don't know. I'm kind of a movie buff. I wouldn't say I've seen nearly every movie I'd love to see, but I have a deep love and appreciation for many different genres, even some of the rom-coms. The traditionally chick flicks. You know, uh, it just depends. I think the biggest thing is, I think at least for a lot of guys, sell them on the story. If the story is good and it doesn't bore them to tears, I think that will help. But, if that's the kind of guy you're dating, that would help as far as, helping him get into some of them. But, understand that you may have to find some movies that are compromised. Maybe you're never going to be into action films, but maybe if you can also expand your horizons to include sci-fi, or maybe some more traditional comedies, stuff, that helps, where it's not just about everybody falling in love. You know, there has to be other things to capture other emotions, so people are going to want the things that they like, because it brings out that emotion for them. Um, but I will say this, not all guys fit that stereotype, so maybe it's the guy you're dating. Maybe you're attracted to the stereotype macho guy. And if that's fine if you are, just saying that when you are attracted to this person, you have to expect them to live up to some of these stereotypes. But as for why, I don't know. I'm not the guy to ask, really. Anyway, we'll go on to question 2 here. This one is from Bodanovus Windsor, and he asks, what are your thoughts on the bills passed in North Carolina and potentially other states to discriminate against the LGBTQIA plus community? And Bodanovus, it is a very complex issue as far as when you get into the grain of the bills. I don't have the time to do the research right now, but I will say how I feel about it is pretty much, yeah, this is about my feelings towards the Republican legislators who've done this. It is quite simple. You know, you want to be a good person, and give people a shot. You know, understand that not everybody's going to be like you, and creating homophobic, transphobic, biphobic, and otherwise demeaning propaganda and treating other people like crap is not cool. It never has been, never will be. Now, you may have gotten away with it once upon a time, but this is a new day and age. And people have to understand the time for the kiddie games that you got away with in homophobic land of high school days no longer flies. You got away with it because You were able to convince others to go along with your bullshit, and we're not going to do it anymore. The majority of the people aren't going to like this because it's going to cost jobs, it's going to cost tourism dollars, it's going to cost agriculture business. It is going to cost so much when states like yours, like North Carolina, do what they do, because companies are not going to be associated with it. Individuals are not going to travel there because of it. And that's just the truth. You're going to see mass consequences as a result. And I'm glad. And it's not because I don't think there are a lot of good people in North Carolina. I know there are a lot of good people in North Carolina. So if you're watching there, please, stand up, because if it was you and you were the minority in some ways, you would know how you would not want some asshole trying to say you don't have the right to use the bathroom you want, you don't have the right to go into the restaurant you want, or into the hospital you want, or be treated with respect. And I hope that all of you out there who are listening understand that message. It's about respect. We all have to pee. We all have to. That's what this is about, is just being able to feel safe when you go to the bathroom. Anybody would want that. I mean, I can't imagine why you wouldn't want to feel safe. If you feel safe around a certain group of people, wouldn't you want to be around that certain group of people if you're going to have to go to the bathroom? I mean, you're not going to want to sit there and have to feel like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom around this guy who's going to treat me like Jeffrey Dahmer at a buffet. Nobody's going to want that. And right now, because so many people are putting so much hate into this world, that's how we see you. You're coming off, you think you're being the good guy and you're not, because you're being Jeffrey Dahmer. That's how we see you. And again, sorry about my PC fan. Unfortunately, it loves to kick on in random times. But anyway, the third question will come from Jamie DeVrend. And in advance, if I butcher your name, I apologize to anybody and everybody. I never mean to. But she asked, why are Waffle House grits the best grits? Jamie, I have no idea. And that's just the truth. I have no idea. I've not been to a Waffle House in a good 20 years, and I don't eat grits. I'm not a fan. Sorry. I'm glad you like them, though. You know, Arpita Herrick. I again apologize if I butcher your name, but they ask, I would like to know about background music. How do you make it thrilling for the audience? Well, Arpita, it comes down to setting your mood. It is all about the intention of what you're going for. Whether it's background or foreground, or it's a musical number, always know that it has to do with the continuity of your story. If you are trying to scare the crap out of people and you put on, say, Cyndi Lauper's True Colors, you're sending the wrong message unless you're trying to psychologically torture somebody. Now, I wouldn't pick that song personally to psychologically torture anybody because I happen to like that song. But, and I like a wide variety of music. But, it is very simple. You can, if you look at films like The Matrix, you know, part of what made it so good was the soundtrack. Now some people say it's not a good movie, some people will, everybody's got their own opinion. The point is part of what helped sell it and the way it got sold and made it what it was the way they did the soundtrack around it, was the music, you know, and it helped tell the story because it helped set the mood, the tone, the way you wanted to come across in that scene. You know, like take the club scene near the very beginning of the film. Neo, Mr. Anderson, he's walking into this nightclub after he follows the White Rabbit infamously, and Trinity meets him there. What's the music playing in the background? Rob Zombie. And it helps really set the mood of this club because you can see, this is kind of a metal club. This is, where people come to really rock and, just really let loose that aggression, and it's just that kind of club. And that's the image they wanted to sell, was, you know, this was not going to be, you know, some old guys sitting on comfy chairs sipping gin and smoking cigars. This was going to be, this was going to kind of be a balls to the wall kind of movie, and they wanted to sell you on that with the music. So always, or if you look at horror films, and why they use the music they use, or comedy music, when do they use, why do they often utilize show tunes, or why do they often utilize theme songs from other TV shows or stuff like that. Anything that helps you set the mood and help you tell the story through the audio is going to help make it better. Continuity is something lost in a lot, in this sea of special effects right now. But some of it can be made up for if your soundtrack is on point. So that would be the best way I could explain that to you. And finally, Nicole Edwards asked, after growing up in a small town city in Indiana, how has it affected your way of thinking with living in California? And Nicole happens to know me in real life, so that's part of it. And Nicole, this comes down to a very complex answer, actually, and I've had to give your question quite a lot of thought. Um, I will say, in some ways, it has changed me a lot. Because like I am still the core me. I try to be as friendly as I can, try to help people. I want to be a friend to as many people as I can be. I want to be the kind of person who loves more and try all those things that you know me for. That's still who I am. But I think, how has it changed my thinking in some ways? It has helped me grow up. It has helped me grow in different ways to where I understand this world. I understand what's great about this world, but I also understand what's really screwed up and what and that and why it got so screwed up and why it needs to be fixed. Because if we don't, we end up falling into the same trap that a lot of great countries have fallen into when they just start looking for scapegoats to blame for everything. You know, and I know that may sound weird, when you think about everything going on with Occupy Wall Street, with Anonymous, and with all these people talking political revolution. We need to change politics. I agree with a lot of that, and then there's stuff in there that I probably don't agree with. You know, I don't think we have to throw all capitalism out the book. I don't want the government making my furniture or making my television set, for example. You know, I don't think they need to take over the means of all production. But I do think that the government should handle the stuff that morally, ethically should be handled as a collective. As in, we come together as a society and say, yes, education's a right, healthcare's a right, a good working infrastructure that is based on sustainable energy sources is a right. Having our political voices heard, understand, and being able to make sure that we do right in this world and are rewarded for that with that opportunity to make ourselves better. And it's not to say that we all are going to make it rich, but even the poorest one of us should still have a standard of living that says, hey, look, you can at least afford a one-bedroom freaking apartment to be able to keep your lights on and keep your belly full and be able to go see the doctor. I don't think that that's too much to ask, that people do that. I really don't. I think that's something that should be common sense. And Europe, Japan, Australia, they figured this out. Most of Europe, anyway. And then of course, but now you've got the rise again of fascism. As an extreme ideology because some people started leaving people out and behind. And so they're desperate, to take the power back. And that is the extreme I don't agree with. This is your Donald Trump supporter. And this is why I can't agree with Donald Trump. There are probably many things where Donald Trump could teach a lot of people how to do and do a wonderful job at it. I'm not discrediting his business acumen as far as his ability to create a business. The problem with Trump in business is the fact that in reality he's a scam artist. He knows every 7 years he can sit there and game the system, file bankruptcy after amassing $1 billion in debt, so he never has to pay it, which is what lets him keep that super rich lifestyle when his business inevitably fails because he hires yes men to run it. So, and he doesn't want to hear hard truths. He wants to hear about what kind of a wonderful godlike creature he is. And I know I'm kind of getting off into a tangent, but it is just the truth. People like him make this world a worse place because all they care about is them, their lifestyle, and what they want in the moment. And it's not that we don't all have our own guiltiness in that at times, but he's obsessed by it. That's when it becomes greed. And that's where I stand against him. I'm sure there are many things he could teach people and it actually be a really good thing, but many things he's getting dead wrong. And the racism, the xenophobia, the homophobia, the ignorance of foreign policy, his saying no, continue to take it up the butt from the fossil fuel company, until we run out, and then we're completely screwed, because New York City and Miami and 300 other major cities that are in coastal areas are now underwater because the polar ice caps have melted, all due to climate change. All coming in what would amount to my generation's kids becoming either parents or grandparents. By the time they are grandparents, most of them, those cities aren't going to be habitable. And that's scary. I mean, it's going to be scary when you see the Statue of Liberty halfway covered with water. When you see nothing but the torch in the head of the statue that are above water, maybe you see a part of the torso, but that's about it. That's a scary thought, in this world, that our oceans could flood to that point. And because of all the extra fresh water entering into that salt water, it turns acidic and kills the existing ecosystem, which means you have nothing in there but things like jellyfish, because they're the only ones that can thrive in that condition. And they'll die because they have nothing to hunt. And I know it's a real tangent I get off on, but I think, back to the central point, you can see how it's changed my thinking being out here. Because Indiana Jason, I never knew this stuff. I probably would have been a Hillary Clinton supporter. I probably would have been about half the liberal that I am. I always had a sense of right and wrong, but I never had a sense, that that the Democratic Party had become so corrupted and so bad. I never had that sense, that things had gotten so far out of control. I thought, no, most Democrats are still good people. They're still fighting back. They're still trying to do good in this world. It's all this other party. They're the corrupt ones. And no, like a lot of Democrats out there, especially ones if you're supporting Hillary, I don't think you understand how far it's gone to shit. And it's the thing, what I knew a year ago, what I knew 10 years ago, compared to right now, holy crap. But I mean, you can see, I can't help it. Anyway, this is getting to almost 24 minutes, which means probably very few are going to actually bother to watch it, but I hope a lot of you do anyway. If you did stick it out to the end of this video, please let me know in the comments below. Again, like, share, subscribe, because I really, really, really would love to see this channel grow. I'm hoping to possibly shoot the first episode of Conversations possibly this weekend. Just depends, weather and things going on around here, but we're hoping things are kind of back to normal, so maybe I can get this done, and this way I can get it up in the next week or two, depending on how long it takes me to edit this. Anyway, I've got to go, so until next time, thank you very much, and this is Jason, signing off.